Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to ELT Time MENA, which is our coffee break style advancing learning podcast series, where for each episode I'm joined by a guest, an educator based right here in the Middle East and North Africa region, or MENA, which is my region, and together we engage in a 30-minute discussion on a contemporary topic of their choosing over a nice cup of tea. Today I've got a very unusual tea, Mohamed. I've got chocolate and hazelnut, which is a weird combination. I'm really digging in the bottom of the tea barrel, I think, for today's episode. So today I am joined by Mohamed Adel Samk, and he is very experienced. He's a teacher trainer. He's got managerial experience. He's also an ELT content developer, so he's got into curriculums, course book development, and he covers North Africa, Egypt, Morocco. Did you say you do Mexico as well? Some stuff in Mexico?
That's true.
Yeah, in Mexico as well. So not just Middle East and North Africa, but also internationally over in Mexico. He's done training as well. And he's responsible for creating, editing, and redesigning ELT textbooks, which I think hopefully we're going to delve into a little bit in a bit. And also providing teachers with training and professional development workshops. He runs Delta courses, CELT-P, CELT-S, and Train the Trainer courses as well. He's been CELTA qualified since 2018 and Delta qualified since 2021. And his Delta we are going to touch on in a little bit because that relates to our topic today. So, Mohamed, a very good morning to you and welcome to our podcast. We're happy to have you with us. And how are you this morning?
Good morning, Nathan. Thank you for giving me this chance to be with you. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so happy by just having this meeting with you and the Macmillan Education.
No, yeah, we're definitely happy to be with us. And you're based in Egypt. You're in Cairo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. I'm based in Dubai, so I'm in the UAE. So we're a couple of hours apart, but it's morning for both of us, and probably if anybody's joining us, it's probably morning for them as well. If anybody is with us, please do say hi, either in the chat box here, or if you're watching on Facebook, you can say hi in the chat there as well. So I told you what tea I've got. Mohamed, do you have tea, or are you not a tea drinker?
You know, I can say I'm not a tea fan, and also I'm not a coffee fan.
Okay, so not with the hot drinks. Are you?
But
water, or you have a?
Yeah, I drink water. I'm a water man. They can say an aqua man.
Yes.
This is the first thing. But in the morning, I like to drink something totally different. I like to drink that's decaf coffee. I don't know why I drink coffee. It's decaf without caffeine, but I like the taste of it. You know, I like to just have something added to the milk to change its taste. That's it.
Okay. So you like the flavor of the coffee, but not that kind of kick.
Yes.
Because most people kind of need a coffee in the morning, right? And that's the caffeine.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
But you know, I can recommend, because I know that you're a tea fan, you're a tea man. I can recommend some tea flavors that I really tried before. Tea with raspberry was something unforgettable. So you just try to
raspberry and fruits.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, really nice. I went for something weird today because I've had fruit tea quite a few times. I've had that one raspberry. I had strawberry. I had passion fruit, I think, one time. So yeah, I've tried lots of the fruit ones. I do like fruit teas. Make a little pot, get the fruits in there. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, that's true. I tried it before and it was really unforgettable.
Good. Okay. And if anyone's joining us, let us know what tea you might be drinking, if it's a coffee break, wherever you are. I think lots of people are coffee drinkers these days. I don't know why.
Yeah, people, they follow the English way. They drink tea.
Yeah, I know. I usually have one coffee a day. Usually, again, same as you, first thing in the morning, I'll wake up and have a coffee to start. And then I'll move on to tea. If I drink too much coffee, I get the shakes. I didn't drink a lot of coffee growing up, so I get that weird, like, caffeine shake thing.
Just try to drink the decaf.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah, I think it's probably better for me.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So welcome anyway, once again. And that is between lessons. Good. You've got a little smiley face there. Nice to see you, Nadia, always with us. So before we begin with the topic itself, let's get to know you a little bit better, Mohammed. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to where you are now? Do you have any influences? What kind of things have you learned on your educational path?
Okay, so I can't speak well about myself, but what I can say, just I love learning languages. That's why I've decided to teach languages.
Mm.
That and English was my first passion because it's my, it's my native language is Arabic and English is my second language. So it was my first passion to teach it, to learn first and then teach. And I've decided to share my passion with others all over the world. All people, they are suffering while learning English as a second language. Not only English, any language as a second language or third language.
Yeah.
But what I can say about myself, I'm trilingual. I speak Arabic, English, and Spanish.
Uh,
And as you said, yeah, sorry.
¿Cómo estás? My wife
Yeah,
is my wife is Colombian, so there's a lot of Spanish going on in my house.
yeah, muy
Good.
bien, muy
Yeah.
bien.
Good, good. Okay, good. So you've got three languages. Excellent. So then you decided that you liked languages enough and you got into teaching.
Yes. So my professional career, I can say that I'm an ELT content developer at an international publishing house.
Okay.
I'm responsible for that's editing, creating, redesigning course books and ELT. That's notebooks for students to learn at schools and at centers.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I'm director of studies and teacher trainer at international LTO. I deliver some teacher training courses like CELT-S, CELT-S, and CELT-B, and train the trainer courses with Cambridge. As you
Okay.
said, I'm based in Egypt and I'm obsessed with music. This is my friend while preparing and editing or working.
Okay. What kind of music do you like?
I like all classic music.
Okay.
My favorite singer is Nat King Cole.
Oh, yeah, nice. You like the old classics, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. I'm a big Motown fan. That's
Yeah.
my go-to music. 60s,
I
going into
think we
70s.
can share some tracks.
I'm sure we probably could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all the old classics, definitely. And it's
Me
amazing
too.
how much those songs influence the music that everybody's listening to today. Amazing.
Yes,
We
that's
listen to
true.
things on the radio, and I say to my wife, "Oh, that's a sample from I don't know whatever it is," and she's like, "Really? I thought that was like an original song." And I'm like, "No, this is a copy. They've used a sample or lyrics or all sorts of things. Yeah, so it's influenced
Yeah,
me."
I also learned listen to the radio. You know that I think I'm the last one, or I'm from the little time I have. Just I listen to the radio. I like radio a lot. I don't like watching TV.
Okay, yeah. So you're out of that Netflix circle, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, excellent. So we got to know a little bit about you, which is great. So let's think a little bit about the topic. So the topic, as we can see from the screen, there's two areas to this. There's career paths and to teacher development. I want to start with the teacher development part first. So teacher development, is it the same as professional development or is it different? Are they the same term but just used interchangeably or do they mean something different?
You know that we can say yes and we can say no.
Okay.
I can say teacher development here in the Middle East means your career path as a teacher. That
Okay.
means you just after some years, you're being promoted to be a senior teacher or a head of English department, or sometimes now you can be a teacher trainer.
Yeah.
This is the traditional way. But the professional development means your effort as a teacher to enhance and sharpen your linguistic and teaching skills.
Okay.
The teacher development here in the Middle East, I'm speaking only in the Middle East, the traditional way depends on the organization that you work for. But the professional development depends on you and your intention to work all the time on yourself. And definitely your awareness to evaluate and criticize yourself honestly, to highlight your weak points and set a plan to strengthen all of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So professional development is what we do to improve ourselves with that benefit being passed on to what happens with students. Teacher
Yes.
development's more about our own well-being, our own goals, our own personal motivations as educators, and where we might want to go with that.
That's true.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So it's nice to I think it's useful to distinguish between the two a little bit. Okay, so then if teacher development is about ourselves and about our career pathways, I mean, clearly if you was to look at 1,000 teachers here in MENA especially, and looked at their career trajectories, I mean, each one would be completely different in terms of which direction they go in, how long it takes them to get there. So, I mean, from your experience, what kinds of career pathways have you seen? I mean, it sounds like you've kind of done several in parallel, because you said you were a director of studies, also a teacher trainer, also doing train the trainer courses. So you've got quite a few strands. You've kind of followed a few at the same time, perhaps. So you could do more
Yes,
than one, I guess, right?
yes, that's true.
Okay. So what career paths have you seen that are available to teachers?
Okay, in the Middle East, unfortunately, away from this discrimination against non-native English teachers and this problem, but I speak about people like me. English is not their first language. We have three ways now. They were two, but now we have three.
Okay,
The
that's good.
first one, that's to be a traditional teacher, always an English teacher at school or LTO your entire life.
Okay.
And the second one now is just to get, sorry, to get extra managerial duties as well as the teaching duties. So you get some superior management, like to be a senior teacher, supervisor at your organization.
Yeah.
The third one now, it's just something in high demand, is to be a teacher trainer. And I think being a teacher trainer pathway that has recently attracted many teachers in the Middle East. And a lot of them now, they started to provide some workshops, courses, face-to-face or online.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but still we have a fourth way, but we don't focus on it, the management way. That's to focus only on the management and education management.
Okay.
Because not a lot of people they know it, and not a lot of people think of it. They always need to get to just retire or just to stop teaching and start to being a teacher trainer here in the Middle East. But to be to be that a specialized person in academic management, to be a director of studies, to be an academic manager, or to be that ELT content developer.
So there's
Because
there's an extra strand. So
yeah,
most people, they become a teacher first of all. They can either, it's become very popular to go into the training route, so move away from the classroom and work with teachers instead of students. That's one route that people can take. I mean, that's obviously the route that I've taken, and the route that some people who have been on our show have taken. If people think about like Anna Hasper, she joined us a couple of months ago. Obviously, she was a primary teacher in New Zealand, and then she went on to become a consultant and a trainer externally. So working more with teachers than directly with students, although she does a bit of both. So there's been a few people. So that's one route that people can take, this idea of going into kind of training other teachers. And I think with that, there's this idea of being like a master teacher, I guess.
yes,
The
that's
ideas
true.
around behind that. Do you think that you have to be a master teacher to become a trainer? Or can you train to become a trainer as a less experienced teacher?
That you're a teacher trainer, and you know the requirements. And this is a good point I need to highlight here. Just to be a teacher trainer, you need to have solid and varied teaching experience. So you need to teach that different levels, different ages, to teach young learners, teens, adults, to teach all classes from A1 to C1, to teach exam preparation courses, business English, English for specific purpose. And definitely you should have a level 7 qualification like Delta or DipTESOL.
Okay.
Because I don't recommend being a teacher trainer with only a level 5 qualification like CELTA or CERT-TESOL. I'm speaking here about the most valuable and reputable courses.
Yeah.
But definitely there are many of TEFL courses in the market. But being only at the level 5 qualification and you want to be a teacher trainer, your knowledge couldn't help you a lot.
Okay, so experience is
Okay,
definitely a part of being a trainer. What other
definitely.
things do you think? Because I mean, I feel like training is a different job to teaching. I think some people think that training is like teaching, but teaching for teachers, and I'm not convinced that it is. So, what's your take on that?
No, I totally agree with you. It's not like teaching. It's totally different because it's not easy to train teachers to just sometimes you need to change their beliefs. Sometimes you need to add new beliefs in them. Sometimes you need to change their way of thinking or their development perspective. And totally different between when you just teach learners to speak English fluently or help people to teach English. Because here you speak about methods, approaches, differences between method approaches. You speak about linguistics skills and differences. But having a level 5 or just being a good teacher doesn't mean you can be a great teacher trainer. So you need
Yeah,
to go through that's a solid and intensive training to change yourself from being a teacher to be a trainer.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I feel like a lot of training is um, about, I guess, giving confidence to try new things. I mean, you could be a very, very experienced teacher and not necessarily be a great trainer.
That's
It's,
true.
let's say if you've been, I don't know, you've been teaching English at university level for 20 years, you're very used to what you're doing, and if you try to then train teachers in the same way, I'm not sure that that would work. But so, yeah, I think it's more than experience. I think there's a definite um, ability that the trainers bring to the table. And I think that, a lot of it's about listening, a lot of it's about finding out about what teachers' ambitions are, and
Yeah,
then
that's
and
true.
then working out from that. I think the key part of being a trainer is that you need to accept that the teachers that you're working with are all a variety of interests and experiences themselves, but then building on that rather than just trying to change their mind, like, okay, we're going to do it this way now, because I think people know that these teaching methodologies, they kind of go around in circles, a lot of them. There's a flavor of the day, there's a lot of jargon in education that people can just kind of use and be like, yes, 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 I do critical thinking in my classroom. And a lot of training is getting under the skin of what people are doing, and exploring it with them rather than just, we need to do this with students now. This is the new way. It needs to be done like this. I think it's very communicative, I think, training. That's my point of view anyway. I'm sure there's different types of
That
trainers.
that's true, and this is a big problem you highlighted here in the Middle East with the teacher training field, because a lot of teachers, as I said, they want to be teacher trainers, and some of them already started without thinking what skills they need to be a good trainers. So now they just take a course like TEFL or any level 5 course and just they mimic or just they copy the information in this course and try to repeat this information again, and they call themselves that we train teachers. But training, as you said, is totally different than this. You can be a good teacher, you have experience, or you can be a knowledgeable person, you have a lot of knowledge about teaching and methods, but you're not a good trainer, because you need to this harmony between your experience, your knowledge, your training as a trainer, and then your personal skills to be a good trainer. You are
Yeah.
helping teachers to be good teachers, to be better than what they were before the teaching course with you, before the workshop with you. You're
Yeah.
not a recorder, just you give them the same information they can read in any book.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think for me, part of it is about the terminology that's used. So yeah, I mean, there is teacher training. I think it depends on the context, because when you're doing your CELTA, then I guess you are being trained because you're accepting that it's the type of course that's introducing you to teaching. if you've not done it before. And then I guess in other contexts, if it's in service, then, it's more like, I guess it's a bit more like coaching. A lot of training is more like coaching, I think, facilitating this type of thing. So it's interesting. I mean, somebody's put in the Facebook, I'm trying to keep a track
Yes,
of
that's
it
true.
as well. Susan said, to be a trainer, you also need to teach the courses that are vital, such as methods of teaching, which we mentioned, testing and assessments, educational psychology, so helping teachers to understand the students from the student's point of view, so becoming more
That's
student-centered. I
true.
think that's definitely key. But she's also mentioned special education as well. So not just seeing students as the kind of absorbers of the language. Yes, they've come to my class, and in this unit, I'm going to do this vocabulary, and this unit, I'm going to do this topic. But actually realizing that students approach learning in different ways. So whether they've got special educational needs, as Susan has mentioned, or whether they've got other needs within their own kind of learning contexts. This idea of they learn better in the evening or in the morning, or they need it in bite-sized chunks, or they can do the reading on their own, all of these types of things, which I think trainers can help teachers with a little bit to think about. So yeah, really nice comment there, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with Susan. I just can add something here. Yeah, different learning approaches for learners and teachers, but also something very important to have as a teacher trainer, to know the differences between L1 from different countries, and how can you help teachers understand all the differences between L1 and the comparing between English and L1 for students, because it's very important. You cannot teach that Mexican students as the way you teach Arabic students, as the way you teach that Chinese students, because different L1, different language and different linguistic ways of each language. So you need to know the differences and what is you can use the similar ways and different ways between L1 and English to just deliver a useful lessons for your learners.
Yeah, so adaptation. But I think so. Yeah, I totally agree. This idea of taking into account the L1, but not just from that interference point of view. Understanding that P's and B's are difficult and these type of thing. Actually, I think it's useful to accept that your L1 influences the way that you approach learning, and it affects the way that you think as well. Thinking in English and thinking in Arabic are actually very different. And I had this conversation the other day with some colleagues of mine, actually, and I was questioning them on whether or not the meeting that we had, and this is a professional meeting, so obviously we're at work, but whether the meeting we had would have been different, and in what way it would have been different if we'd conducted the meeting in Arabic, if I could speak fluent Arabic, which I cannot. But if I could speak fluent Arabic and we had done this in Arabic, how would the flow of the meeting have gone? Would we have achieved the same results? Would we have set the same objectives? Because I think we neglect sometimes the fact that our native tongue influences what we bring to either a meeting or a classroom or any social context, I guess. It was just really interesting. We had this really interesting kind of end of meeting conversation about this idea of the influence that the way you think in your first language affects you. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And just this is what I'm just trying to highlight. Teachers or teacher trainers, you need to just consider L1 as a very important part of the equation, while just delivering teaching courses or just you teach learners.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've talked quite a lot about this teacher training route that people can go down. And if that's something that they're interested in, I'm going to obviously talk to us. We've both obviously gone down that route a little bit. Okay, let's move on to the other strand that you were talking about, this kind of management strand, because we talked a lot about the skills that people might need for training. Some people might not be interested in that, and you were talking a little bit about it's become very popular. So I think that teachers are like, oh, I need to do a few years in the classroom, and I need to become a trainer. Otherwise, I'm not progressing, and that's not necessarily true. If you don't think training might not be for you, you might not be interested in it. you might be interested in doing something else. So let's talk a bit about the management. So how are the skills for management different to becoming a trainer? What personality traits might people have that might lead them down that route? And how could they get started with that route, do you think?
Okay, so first of all, I can speak about why people that like teacher training to get it. And they like it because of the prestigious they think this role gives, and definitely it's lucrative. Okay, but the prestigious position, the same lucrative system, you can get it if you started to be an academic manager, or just you get something in the education management, because here you can control everything and you create, redesign, or you plan everything in the LTO. You are the core of everything in this organization. To be an academic manager or just to work in management, definitely you need solid and varied teaching experience, and definitely management qualification like PMP, MBA, or Delta with a specialism in management. And definitely you need some personal skills. You need to work on your skills as a personal. You need to be creative, you need to be a leader, because it's not easy to control people. It's not easy to control people in work. That it's easy, yeah, to have group of teachers and you are on the top, but this team should work with high level of harmony and complete each other. It would help if you are, as a person, very organized and decisive in your life. So here we have three parts: the teaching skills, definitely, and experience. You have the qualification. Here I speak about the knowledge, the theoretical and academic knowledge, and then your personal skills. So work on the three to be a great academic manager.
Okay. And again, I guess a question that comes up is about teachers becoming. Do you think management in education always needs to be teachers? I mean, I definitely had this. I'm not going to name the place I worked for because I worked for lots of places, but I worked for a very big global ELT organization, and they had a habit of pushing the very best teachers into management positions. And very often, I don't think those people were very good managers. I think they were excellent teachers, but I'm not sure that they were very good managers. So do you think, I've always felt like that was a shame, like, because the organization really made them feel like, well, if you want to progress in your career, you need to become, assistant DOS or senior teacher, assistant DOS, country director or whatever it was. I don't know. Do you feel like there is this, if you want to progress as a teacher, you need to get into management?
I think yes. It's definitely it's better that's to have teachers and put them to the management part, and just they gain the skills of the management or the managerial duties and managerial skills, as well as their teaching skills and experience, because this could give you, that's, I cannot say a complete person, but could give you that's a very valuable person in addition to your team, because here you have someone, he always analyzes everything from two perspectives: the academic teaching and the business way, the management way.
Yeah. And we had an example of that recently, actually. We had Faisal, who is the head of the English Language Institute at Dhofar University. He came onto one of the episodes, again, a couple of months ago. And he started as a teacher at that university, and he worked his way right up through to head of department. And yeah, he definitely reflected on that and said that, when he's in meetings with teachers or even with students, he holds student meetings, he can really empathize with the perspective on the ground, the challenges that they face, what's going on within the classroom. He's got a real understanding of it. So yeah, I guess it does help.
Yeah, that's true, because being as a teacher and then you start your management field or positions, that means you understand what's going on in the teaching rooms. So you know exactly what the problems that teachers face. You know what the meaning of the workload when you have that high number of hours. You know the preparation time and the headache of it. But just being a manager, because you are specialized in management or you are a business developer, without being a teacher, that you see the workload as number of hours on your paper, but you don't understand the meaning or the effort behind 100 teaching hours per month.
Yeah. So while we're on this topic of ELT management, so this was part of your Delta, right? You did your Delta with ELT management as part of that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
so what was that Delta like, and why did you choose ELT management, and what did you kind of gain from that experience of doing the Delta with ELT management?
Okay, just need to it's a good opportunity to tell people about the Delta and ELT management, because it's something like a mini MBA in management, but it's so specific and so focused on the ELT management. Only you learn the management in language teaching organizations and everything around it. This is level 7 qualification that equals a master degree and the specialism of management. You learn a lot how to manage any LTO, how can you analyze the weak points of any LTO, how to set a plan and implement it, how can you upgrade the productive atmosphere in your language teaching organization, how can you change the curriculum, how can you change the course book, how can you help learners to be independent, and you learn how can you manage a lot of learning and academic problems. It's really a challenging but worthy step if you want to be an academic manager, to take Delta in ELT management. But uh, from my experience, this course reformed me as a person before being a manager. This course helped me to know, to just to pass through the transition from being a teacher to a manager smoothly, and work as a very professional manager with knowledge and experience in management beside my teaching experience. So as I said, now I evaluate everything from two perspectives: the academic and the management, the learning and the business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I guess even if you didn't become a manager, understanding a manager's point of view is also useful for teachers, right? I know there's always a
That's true.
conflict. I've got to be
That's
careful
true.
what I say. There's always a conflict between teaching and the administration, pretty much everywhere I've been anyway. But yeah, like there's always this, they don't understand, but obviously the management have got their own priorities and they've got goals and objectives, and if it is a business, which a lot of education is in this region, they've got people above them telling them what to do, and they've got perhaps financial responsibilities and this types of things. It's not easy to bridge that gap between management empathizing with teachers and teachers empathizing with managers. It's a really tough one, I think.
That's true. But Delta and ELT management can help you to just get the benefits of everything, because you study human resources, you study marketing, you study finance, you study education management, you study um, how can you just face some problems, and how can you anticipate the problems in management. We speak about management here.
Yeah.
And how can you work on to solve them.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess a big part of that's communication, right? So if you know,
Yes, that's true.
if you know what other people's responsibilities are, what kinds of tasks they need to do, what pressures that they have in their roles, you can build a communication line with them. And I think communication is always the key to improving anything, right? It's being able
Yes, that's
to
true.
say, I understand, and let's work together on figuring out something that eases the pressure from both sides, I guess.
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
that's you exactly know how can you get the benefit, the financial benefit from each course you deliver. How can you make the financial equation to make it a profitable course?
Yeah.
So you study a lot in depth about that, designing courses and having LTO. This is very helpful nowadays for teachers. They work as a freelance teachers, that they work freelance teachers or independent teachers. They run their own business themselves. So after having this knowledge, so they can understand how can they market themselves, how can they design a course and set the financial equation to make it a profitable course, how can they communicate with customers and just work on the human resources if they have more than one teacher in their organization.
Yeah. Great. And I mean, we've touched on loads of things there, which is really good. And actually, it's interesting even for me to kind of think about all of these different types of aspects. So, I mean, you ran through a list of some of the things that were on that course. So, if people are thinking to themselves, I am interested in a little bit about marketing or human resources or finance, then maybe the Delta in ELT management is something that they might want to look into. So, I think that's a really good recommendation. Okay, we're kind of coming to the end. We're kind of coming towards 40 minutes. So let's finish off on this topic. But before we do, because we always like to finish with tips. I mean, usually I ask for people's teaching tips, but you might want to give tips around career development instead. It's up to you. But if you've got any favorite either teaching tips or tips around how people might further their own career in MENA.
Okay, so I can say what I learned through my experience. So I can say that teaching is fun, and it should be fun. So that's my tip here: help your learners to love learning. And as you said, our main job as teachers, the teacher's main job is to be a facilitator. So it's very important to allow and encourage learners to be autonomous and work out the rules with your support. You're not a teacher, you're just a facilitator. That's my third tip. That's let learners to share and participate in each stage in the classroom. Let them to share and help you. And please, as a teacher, try to evaluate their needs and work on them. Not working on what you need to give them, work on what they need. Evaluate that at the beginning.
Yeah.
This is, I can say, yeah.
Go on, Karen.
Yeah. What I always say about teaching is that your work as a teacher in the preparation room, when you prepare your classes, not in the classroom. So you should spend more time in the preparation room, in your room, preparing and working on your classes. Your job not in the classroom, but in your office preparing. This is your main job.
Okay, so the importance of good preparation.
Definitely. You should double your preparation time. And my last step, I can say that always remember that the best part of teaching, from my point of view, is learning. So you learn and then you teach. So please keep learning and learn a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And reflect. I think reflection is a big part.
Definitely.
Do and then reflect and think about it. Just and that can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be you after the class I'm going to sit down and write a whole page of reflections. It could just be going back over a few things in the car, or later that night you take a shower, pick one thing, focus on the reflection rather than just it kind of being open, and then pick a kind of pathway. And in terms of this career pathway and teacher development part, I mean, I guess think carefully about what it is you want to do long term, and how it is you're going to get there. Again, kind of plot that out. What kinds of things can I be doing to support that journey, rather than just kind of waiting. Be like, right, I'm going to do 8 years of teaching, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. What are the small steps? And it doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you want to get into, like you said, writing content. Maybe you want to publish ELT course books and get into curriculum development. What can you be doing now to help support yourself with that journey down the line, I guess? Whether that's networking, whether that's trying to get people to see some of the content that you develop, all of these types of things. Just, I guess, think about that. Again, reflect on that is what I would say when it comes to career pathways. And then I guess just looking for opportunities. You'd be surprised where opportunities pop up, I think.
That's true. But if you prepared yourself well, you can find the opportunity. If you speak about that curriculum designing or just ELT content development, so you just need to work a lot on your writing skills to be aware of a lot of layouts, a lot of genres, and the content, language, purpose, the form of each one. And you have high level of editing skills, because it's very important. And definitely you have teaching knowledge, experience in teaching, because you need to just to redesign something, and you know the rationale behind each thing, and how can you link each activity to the next one, how can you link the unit to the whole theme of the book.
Yeah. Well, also a big part of that is working with other people. I think, especially with writing course books and curriculums, I think people think that you need to just write a whole curriculum or write an entire course book. And actually, those course books are really prepared in collaboration with other people. I've seen quite a few people actually in this region. They're like, I wrote a book on teaching grammar to secondary school students, and like, how do I get it published? And it's like, oh, I don't know. Actually, it's actually really difficult. What connections have you got with people who have been doing the same kinds of things and working together on programs? So definitely connect with people. That's what I would say.
That's true, because you cannot write the whole book yourself.
It's very unlikely. Yeah, unless you're Jack Richard or the really big names. If you're a Scott Thornbury, people are going to take you seriously. But for everybody else, we've got to kind of put in the legwork, I think. And he would have done at the beginning as well.
That's true.
He didn't get to where he was overnight, definitely. So.
That's true, and this could be a piece of advice for all people in the Middle East, because here in the Middle East we don't focus more on the depth of the professionalism, on the depth of the quality, but we focus on the prestigious way, and we just need to say that, oh, I wrote a book, or just, oh, I'm a teacher trainer, and just write it on the Facebook or just Instagram or something like this. But we don't focus more on the quality. So we need to understand more about each field in depth, and to know how people work in this field, what we need to work professionally in this field before we start working on it.
Yeah, and there's some really good role models in this region. And obviously I work for Macmillan, so I know that there are people in this region, in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, in Egypt, in North Africa, who publish for Macmillan, who publish for Springer Nature. I see the Springer Nature journals, and there's lots of people based in this region publishing in those journals. So again, do some background kind of reading, find out what their interests are. If they're similar to yours, connect with them, tell them what it is you're doing. The internet's great these days. You can reach out to an author on LinkedIn and say, like, I've got some questions. I really want to get into this. Could you give me some advice? And they will probably say, I got into it 40 years ago and the world is totally different now. But, they will definitely give you some insights, and that could just help push that.
That's true. And I think IH Journal provides some tips and some steps to start working as an ELT content developer or ELT author. So people, they can check it online.
Yeah, blogging, any of these types of things.
Yeah.
People getting noticed. People do watch those things. They look out for new talent. So yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Thank you very much. It was such an interesting conversation today, Mohamed, and really interesting to think about this topic of teacher development as opposed to professional development. A lot of my work is in professional development, but it's really interesting to think about teachers and how they grow. We didn't really touch on things like well-being, but I think that's also a part of it as well. Knowing your limits, knowing what to do, when to stop, when to say, actually, no, I'm going to focus on something outside of education, my family for a bit, or these types of things as well. So well-being, I think, definitely comes into this idea of teacher development a lot as well. But thank you very much for your insights. Thanks very much for the lovely tips as well. For those of you who are interested in teacher development or career pathways and want to talk more about it, certainly, like I said, connect with people on LinkedIn, connect with me. You can always send me a message. And I will advise as best as I can. My weird chocolate and hazelnut tea has come to an end. So I guess our tea time today has also come to an end. Mohamed, I'd like to thank you very much for giving us your time, giving us this 45 minutes, and giving us your insights, telling us a little bit about yourself, and also sharing your experiences in all of those strands: teaching, training, management, and what you gained from doing your Delta as well. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Nathan, for giving me this a chance.
It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. So in the meantime, we will see you. I'm back again in 2 weeks' time. And we have a guest joining us from Saudi Arabia next time. And we're going to be talking about some projects they've done around active learning and student engagement, I think. So I look forward to seeing you all again in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, I hope everybody does well, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Mohamed, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.